Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry about the lighting and the mess behind me. This video was completely last minute and something that I just needed to get out right away. I couldn't put it off any longer. Like I said before, I have just really been kind of distant from social media. I haven't really been posting a whole lot. I haven't really even had the motivation to post, to make videos, or really do anything with social media lately. So as I talked about in my last video, I had goals of losing some weight, some of the unhealthy weight that I called it, even if that meant gaining back healthy weight. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about that. So I said that we had moved back. I talked a little bit about how we've been around family and how our eating patterns have been, and just gaining really, really unhealthy patterns in our life. So ooh, there's a nasty spider outside. So with that being said, I have had a lot of binging episodes. And at first it started with, the healthier food, like healthy muffins that we would make, or just what the fuck is that? Oh no. Okay, I'm literally sitting here staring out of a window and there are just all kinds of nasty bugs everywhere and I can't do it right now. But anyways, so I went from binging on those healthier, more wholesome, nutrient dense foods to binging on Pop-Tarts and ice cream and craving chocolate cake and donuts and things that, like donuts. I have not craved donuts in years. And even the other day, my therapist and I had talked about, the guilt over eating, and he told me, once a week, I want you to go out, and if you want ice cream, wait until that day of the week that you had planned and go get whatever ice cream you want. If it's unhealthy, healthy, if you want to go to multiple places, get that ice cream that you want, but it has to wait until that specific day of the week. So I had literally just had a binge the night before, and so what had caused this binge was, and I know this is crazy and this is probably where it all started, but I had been watching people's cheat days and the 10,000 calorie cheat days, stuff like that, and they all had donuts on there and they just looked so good. And like I said, I had not craved donuts in over a year and a half, 2 years, like forever. I've not really even had the desire for donuts. And I've had this like extreme want for the worst donuts you could ever think of, like so unhealthy. And that's what had really started it. But every time that we would go to, go get donuts, the place was closed or whatever, so I always had to settle for something else. So I was never truly satisfied, and I thought, after my appointment, Spud Nuts was open, so I would just go get a donut, I would eat it, I'd be okay, I'd feel good, and I'd move on. So I got there and I thought, okay, well, if I have a donut, then I have to get everybody else donuts or I'll feel bad. So I got half a dozen donuts, and then I realized that they had blueberry, and so I got 2 extra. And after I got them, it was like the sudden urge to, just have one bite. And I was like, no, I'll wait till I get home and, I'll be fine. I can wait that long. And it's like that urge just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And it got to where I was like, okay, fine. And I remember taking that first bite and literally driving home, probably swerving all over the place, just fitting as like as much as I could in my mouth and just eating all of those donuts. And I ate 8 donuts by the time that I got home. And I just remember feeling so angry and so guilty. And this is literally like how I would feel after every binge, and even before or during. And this is what I talk about with the unhealthy weight that I want to lose, is because I know it is emotional weight that I'm holding on to. And this is something that, people will either say you're crazy if you believe in it, or, something that can really be proven that people can hold on to emotional weight. And what I mean by that is, when I would think about these foods, and, it was before binge, when the thoughts and the urges would really start, I would put myself down and be so mean to myself because I was even having the urges, and, telling myself how disgusting I was because I wanted this food, and how gluttonous it was, and just, how bad it was for me. And the thoughts would just progress and progress, and the more I would try to push them out, the worse that they would get. And I felt so disgusted with myself. And then it would get to the point where I was like, so what, so then I would binge on those foods, and I would eat all of those foods. And then, during the binge, I would tell myself, like, you're gonna get fat, you're gonna look like this, you're disgusting, you can't control yourself. And then it would be much worse after. And I can't tell you why that was not reason enough for me to stop. But it wasn't. And it was actually, sometimes it would make it worse, because those all those negative emotions. And then I would think, what's the point? I've already gone this far. Why not more? And so many nights, multiple times a week, I wake up and my hands are so swollen that they're like red and they hurt, and my body is just aching and hurting, and my joints hurt. I feel disgusting. I literally don't feel hungry or full or anything anymore. And I feel disgusting. I feel completely disgusting. But it took a lot for me to realize that I cannot hate myself for it, because at one point I felt like I had a purpose. So, and I want to make a disclaimer that this is not easy for me to talk to. This is not easy for me to put out there, and I'm not putting these things out there so people could feel bad for me or whatever, because I'm ashamed to put these things out there half the time. But I talk about these things in such detail because there are many times that I would watch women that would talk about how easy it was to recover, but yet their binges were, overeating at a party, or overeating with their family, or having pizza one night, or stuff like that, and I'm not saying, like, I'm not undermining others' eating disorders, but I just want to put this out there, because I know that when I was binging before, I thought that I was absolutely disgusting, and that I was the only one doing it, and, I was this abnormal person who couldn't have control over themselves. And I just want to let you guys know that if you are going through this, that there are reasons behind it, that it's not just some problem that's wrong with you and you can't control yourself. There are purposes for it, and there are reasons for it, and I will get into that, and I will talk about that. But I talk about these things in such detail because I just know that for many people, it means a lot for them to understand and to relate to what I'm feeling and how I'm feeling and how often this is going on, and help them understand that I understand what they're facing and what they're going through. But I can honestly say that for me, the all-in approach just does not work. And the gaining weight to feel better about myself and to, have that food freedom, it does not work for me. And I just want women to know that if it does not work for you, you are not crazy. Because I would see people on Instagram and YouTube and, all these influencers talk about how they found food freedom by giving in and by allowing themselves to do this or do that, or, just kind of, I don't want to say falling into their, I don't want to say giving in to their eating disorder impulses, but really just allowing themselves to explore other foods and other things like that. That just does not work for me, or not right now. And if it's not working for you, you're not crazy. And I promise that there are other ways to find freedom from food, and it doesn't have to be eating the foods that you really just don't want to eat, that aren't good for you. I would tell Hans all the time, like, maybe this is something that I need to do. And we had talked about it. And especially when it was to the point where I had, my period was still very irregular. It had already been a year. And I was cold all the time. My hair was falling out since I was having all of these symptoms and signs. We had talked about this. And so what started it was we were at my parents' house and we were having dinner with them, and my dad, every time we have dinner, he's like, there's ice cream in the freezer, and usually I'm like, no, I'm good, I'm fine, and I just push it off, and he kind of knows, when to stop. But that night I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have a little bit. And I had a little bit and I wanted more and more. And that was the pattern with these binges, was I would, think, okay, I want this food, but I would have that and I wanted more and more, and no matter how much I had, I just could not have enough. And then 10 minutes, even 5 minutes after I ate it, I wasn't satisfied. I couldn't remember, how good it was. It wasn't something that, like I said, I wasn't satisfied from it, and I just craved more and more and more of it. And it got to a point where my binges turned into not just one sitting, but it turned into 5 o'clock, and then again at 7 o'clock, and then again at 9 o'clock. And then I would wake up literally wanting to throw up and do it again at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then still have those urges at 7 o'clock the next morning. And I just knew that the approach that I was taking was not the answer. So yesterday was the 4th of July, and we had a barbecue, and we have been talking about a cheat day, and we actually planned it for Monday. Or actually, no, we planned it for the 17th, and then all of our plans got canceled. So we were like, okay, Monday is probably the best day to do it. We're just gonna have a massive cheat day and we're gonna be good. So yesterday morning, the urges just hit so bad. I was literally willing to settle for anything that I could get my hands on. And even Hans was like, I don't, you're not gonna enjoy it, you're not gonna be satisfied. And I don't think that that's a good way to go about it, And so it was like, as the day went on, I just started getting more frustrated and more angry the more that I couldn't have these foods. And finally, dinner came around, we had a huge cookout, and I just literally ate and ate and ate all the way from dinner, which was at like 6:30 or 7, until 10 o'clock at night. And this is like the 3rd or 4th time that I've done this. And I just remember waking up and feeling so much hate for myself. and so disgusted with myself and just so angry and mad. And I hate it because I take it out on the people that I love. And especially with Hans, you know, if I tell him, like, I try to be better at communicating with him what I'm feeling and when, but it's like everything just makes me so mad and everything makes me angry and I'm so irritable, and it's worse than whenever I was, you know, having symptoms of, you know, really, whenever I had really low body fat and I was having all my problems with that. It was worse than that. Like, I just felt so heavy and mad and irritable and angry and depressed. And when I tell you guys, the depression is so bad that sometimes I don't want to face it anymore. And I'm sorry if this is hard for some people to watch. But I don't want to face it in the mornings, having to wake up and be so swollen and in pain and uncomfortable in my own skin, and just the thoughts and all of that. I don't want to face them every morning. And there's just some days where I just lay in bed and I just stare at the wall and I tell myself, I need to get up, I need to get ready, I need to do anything, I need to talk to, you know, I need to do anything. And it's like I think about doing them, I tell myself I need to do them, and yeah, I'm just literally laying there staring at a wall for hours because I just have no motivation for life anymore. And I know that, like, it's just food, but it's just so, it just has so much control over your life. I'm just here to say that I've dealt with this for years, and I know it seems so crazy because I feel like I was just talking about this in my first video just a few weeks ago. It does not seem like that long, but when I look back at it, I've been dealing with this for years, and I can't anymore. I can't do it, and I don't know what needs to change, but I'm starting over and I am fixing whatever needs to be fixed, and I'm finding a way because I'm so sick of food and the thoughts and the impulses and the urges. I'm so tired of them controlling my life and controlling my relationships, and I'm over it. So this is a new start, and I hope that this new start not only gives me answers, but gives others answers who are dealing with the same thing. And I really want to take you guys through this journey with me because I feel like it's really important for you guys to see everything, because there are, you know, at the end I can go through and give you guys bullet points of all the things that helped me and whatever, but until you guys see what's really going on and what I'm doing day to day or even weekly, then it's really hard to understand how I'm recovering and how I'm managing all of this. So here's to a new start. I'm really nervous. But if anybody has any questions or any tips or anything, please feel free to contact me. My email's down below. Feel free to leave a comment. Make sure you like and subscribe and turn on the bell notifications. And one thing I just want you guys to remember, don't hate yourself for what you've done. And this is something that I really need to understand as well. But everything that you have done, every action there's a reason behind it. You have felt like you needed that in somehow, some way, but it doesn't matter anymore what you did in the past. All that matters is how you fix that, how you move on, and how you change those bad habits. And that's what we're going to do, is learn how to forgive yourself, move on, and live a healthy, happy life. I hope you guys enjoy, and I can't wait to see you guys in my next video. I love you guys. Bye.